Hello and welcome to this video on sketching the graph of linear equations by first finding the x and y intercepts. So let's get started. All right, so you might want to pause the video on this one and attempt it yourself, but let's try it out. So sketch the graph by finding x and y intercepts. Okay, x plus y equals 3. So thinking about this, we need to know a couple of things. So the x-intercept is when y equals 0. Okay, you have to substitute y equals 0 into this equation. So x plus y equals 3, giving y a value of 0, we get that. So plus 0 just means x equals 3. And I like to put x int there. So that's going to be a point on our graph, all right, that cuts the x-axis. Now we can find the y-intercept. The y-intercept is the point where x equals 0. So you're substituting in x equals 0 into that equation. And you can write the equation every time if you like. So just make sure x is 0. And that just means the y-intercept is 3. Now plotting this, let's give it a go. Whoops. So, got my Cartesian plane. X-intercept is where it cuts the x-axis, where the graph cuts the x-axis. So this is the origin, 1, 2, 3. Our y-intercept is on our y-axis, where it cuts the y-axis at 3. Now you at that is, let's do this. We just draw a line through these 2 points. Some students get confused and think that this is a point that we plot. Like they end up plotting a point there and getting all confused. Like this is the point 3, 3. But that is wrong. The x-intercept is where the graph cuts the x-axis. The y-intercept is where it cuts the y-axis. Okay, so always include that int bit to remind yourself that it's not a coordinate pair. Okay, sketch the graph by finding the x and y intercepts. Y equals 3x, take 2. So maybe I'll just draw my coordinate plane first. Now, we're finding the x and y intercepts first. So our bits of information are x-intercept sub y equals 0. So into this equation, 0 equals 3x take 2. Okay, now remember you want your x's on one side and your normals on the other in order to solve a linear equation. So I need to get that negative 2 over to the other side. And how I do that? I plus 2. And what I do to one side, I do to the other. So what's 0 plus 2? 2. Negative 2 plus 2 cancels. We got that. I want x on its own. I divide by 3 on both sides. And I am left with x equals 2/3. All right, looking good. And I'm going to put that x int to remind myself this is just the point where it cuts the x-axis. So I might even plot it right now, actually. Let's plot this point. X-intercept, well, it is 2/3. So 2/3 of the way to 1. Can you see that? If that's 1, that point there is 2/3. And I might plot it in a different color. This is where it cuts the axis. All right. Then we need to find the y-intercept. Y-intercept is where we substitute x equals 0 into that equation. You can always write the equation again. Just move that up a bit. Subbing x equals 0 and rearranging for y. So 3 times 0 take 2. So the y-intercept is nicer to find. You don't need to do any rearranging. So a bit of bombast means that multiplication comes first. 3 times 0 is 0, take 2. Y equals negative 2. And I put that y int to remind myself it's the place where it cuts the y-axis. So let's just plot it straight in. The place where it cuts the y-axis is -2. And then we can plot our line. Okay, this is plotting a graph by finding the x and y intercepts, okay? Okay, good enough. All right, let's check out the next one. Sketch this graph by finding the x and y intercepts. Okay, 2 things we need to know. X-intercept, sub y equals 0. So I got my equation, and I'm just replacing y with 0. So 4x, take 2 times 0, it's an invisible multiply sign, equals 8. Simplify. 4x take 0 equals 8. Well, taking away 0 it's just this, you don't even need to write the 0. 4x equals 8. Well, there's an invisible multiply sign. Divide by 4. Divide by 4. And that cancels, and we're left with the x int is 2. And I'm going to plot it straight away so I don't get confused later. I'm going to plot my x-intercept as a point. X-intercept is where it cuts the x-axis at 2. And I'm going to put a mark there. All right. Let's try it. Y-intercept, x equals 0. So we are substituting in now. 4x take 2y equals 8. 4 times 0, take 2y equals 8. 0, take 2y equals 8. And 0 take 2y, we don't even need that 0 there. It's -2y is 8. And then we need to get y on its own. We're going to divide by -2 on both sides because that's what we do. That cancels, which looks good. And the y int is -4. So that's the origin. -1, -2, -3, -4. And then we can just draw the line because that's how we plot using that x and y intercept method. Okay. Round about that. And last slide for this lesson. Let's check out this. Okay, so by finding the x and y intercepts, okay, x int sub y equals 0. So 2x take 0, take 4 equals 0. I'm substituting for that. And then I can look at that. I can simplify that a bit more. 2x take 4, because we don't really worry about the 0 there. And then I need to get my normal numbers over to the other side. How do I do that? I plus 4 on both sides. And so that will get rid of that. 2x equals 4. Need x on its own. Divide by 2 on both sides. That cancels. X is 2. X int is 2. So maybe just plot it. Yeah, plot it as you go. Plot the x-intercept, which is 0, 1, 2. And then we got our y-intercept over here real quick, and then it's over. Y-intercept sub y equals 0 into this. Oh, I keep doing that. Whoops. Sub x equals 0. Okay. So we've got 2x. Whoops. 2 times 0. Take y, take 4 equals 0. So we've just got 0, take y, take 4 equals 0. Negative y, take 4 equals 0. I got to get my normal numbers over the other side. So I'm going to plus 4 on both sides. That will cancel. And we've got negative y equals 4. Divide by -1 on both sides. Y equals -4, and that's our y-intercept. This is the process I use. And let's go ahead and plot our y-intercept. So -4. The y-intercept is where it cuts the y-axis. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're joining our x and y intercepts to form the graph. And that's the end of the story for this lesson. So I'll see you in the next video where we're going to look at special graphs that are just horizontal and vertical graphs. But I'll see you then.